You are the cause of misery, death, and destruction. People with a great pride brazenly attach themselves to a group of misery, death, and destruction gangs. When you see yourself as part of the gang, you can't say that you don't condone the crimes which you don't do. If they do the crime, you are condoning the crime. When you wear the colors or signs of the gang, you are no different to the perpetrators of the crime, and justice must come down upon you, in the same way as the perpetrators. Let's have a look at some of these gangs of misery, death, and destruction.
Throughout mankind's recorded history, we see numerous examples of mass killings and wars resulting in untold millions of deaths. And we in the West, of course, have seen our fair share of that, but we typically associate mass killings and jihad with other religions, not with Christianity, a very peaceful religion in our history, surely, and certainly not with religions like Buddhism. Atheism, of course, just doesn't believe in God, so that ideology is surely not responsible for mass killings in history, is it? Well, the evidence is quite surprising and very alarming. Which civilizations, which ideologies, which religions are responsible for how many deaths in recorded history, at least the last 2,000 years? And obviously the vast majority of human beings have lived in the last 2,000 years. So that sets up the stage. He has one civilization called the atheist civilization, and he says that is located in the communist bloc. And obviously it doesn't exist anymore, certainly not in Europe, but perhaps it exists in China, North Korea. So there's the anti-theist civilization. So what deaths are they responsible for in history? The next civilization is the Buddhist civilization, located in, he says, in East Asia, parts of South Asia. And then the Christian civilization in Europe, the Americas, and parts of Africa. The Indic civilization, this is found in India, Nepal, and Mauritius. The Islamic civilization, found, not surprisingly, in the Middle East, parts of Asia, and parts of Africa. The primal indigenous civilization, which is in parts of Africa and the Americas before colonization. And lastly, the Sinic or Cynic civilization, which of course is found in China and some neighboring states. So these are the 7 civilizations that he's looking at, where they're located, and he's going to see how many mass deaths in war each civilization is responsible for according to the statistics. Our findings show that using the entire data set for the period year 0, Jesus' birth date basically, to 2008, when he wrote this, for 2,000 years of world history, politically and religiously motivated violence has cost between 447 million and 706 million lives. So who's the worst offender? Because we know already that Christian civilization is very peaceful and only seeks to... Christianity is a very peaceful religion. We know that atheism is not an ideology that kills people. I constantly hear this on Twitter and everywhere. How many deaths has atheism caused? Richard Dawkins has asked this question. Of course, common sense. Atheism hasn't killed anyone, has it? And so on. So, number 1, the Christian civilization's share of this is the largest, with between 119 and 236 million victims. The median is 278. The median is kind of like halfway. So between the highest and the lowest figure, the median figure is 178 million human beings killed in the name of Christianity, a result of Christian wars. The second place, what comes in second place? Can you guess? Well, it's the anti-theist civilization, which has contributed with a median figure of 124 million deaths. So 124 million people have died as a result of atheist wars, both civil wars and wars between countries, of course. What's third? Okay, is the Sinic civilization is third with 107 million deaths. That's the median figure. The fourth is the Buddhist civilization with around 87 million deaths. Hang on, where's the Muslim? Well, surely the Muslim civilization must be here somewhere. Number 5 in this unholy list from the very worst. The 5th is the primal indigenous civilization, with 45 million deaths credited to its civilization. Number 6 is the Islamic civilization, with 31 million deaths. Finally, 7th and last is the Indic civilization, with just under 2.39 million deaths. So by far and away the worst, if one looks at the death toll distribution on the pie chart, by far the worst cause of mass deaths in wars, in civil wars, and killings on a mass scale is the Christian civilization. In fact, those words together don't seem quite right, do they? Christian and civilization in this context, but hey, that's the language of this survey. And the Islamic civilization comes second from the bottom in terms of the number of deaths caused. So I think that is quite surprising. It certainly was to me when I first read about this, that the death toll distribution is so heavily weighted. The number 1 is the Christian civilization. Number 2 are the atheists. So I'm sorry, Richard Dawkins, but atheist states, atheist ideology, atheist civilizations have been responsible for at least 124 million deaths, whether it be the Soviet Union, whether it be the Eastern Bloc, whether it be China, communist China, which is probably one of the worst and most egregious places for killing in history of the world. Islam comes 6. So that's very interesting.
The Christian gang has the highest murder rate, followed by the atheist, Chinic, Buddhist, Primeval, Islam, and Indic. Whichever gang that you're part of, you take a bite out of the murder pie. This pie graph clearly provides the facts that the illusion that religious and or non-religious gangs are peaceful is false. With or without religion, mankind will commit mass murders. Proven by these murders, that has taken place over a period of 2,000 years, still continues today. The best option that you have is to be spiritual with the spirits of light and truth. Leave the gangs of misery, death, and destruction. Choose wisely, like, comment, and share. Shalom.
Not scattered little lights, but a bold, straight light to the Supreme One. If you want to be part of that light, subscribe, like, share, and comment. Shalom.